Welcome to the Wisdom to Wealth podcast. This is the podcast where we interview the wealthiest entrepreneurs and business owners in the world. So every story that we're sharing, these entrepreneurs and business owners have overcome so many adversity in their life just so that they can build a successful business. And now you get to hear about it. I am your host, Shamara Star Cox. I'm a TV producer and a marketing coach. My goal is to help 6 and 7 figure business owners create binge-worthy content that attracts and converts their followers into customers. I am also the founder of the Convert Content to Cash Challenge. So if you want to learn how to create content that sells in 5 days or less, feel free to comment the word challenge accepted on Instagram or DM me on Instagram challenge accepted, and I will personally send you an invite. Today we have the lovely Adriana L. Cowden with us. She is an executive coach, seasoned entrepreneur, and former C-suite executive, renowned as one of the most influential women in business. Cowden's expertise has garnered widespread recognition, featured in esteemed outlets like ABC News, Forbes, Fox Business, and CNN Money, among others. With over 25 years of experience and having guided more than 5,000 clients, that's amazing. She now channels her energy entirely into executive coaching. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here today, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. So let's dive into your story. Take us on your journey from where you started to where you are now.
So I started young. I started literally working at age 11. And so I have been working for all of my life, essentially. But I started my career in finance and then pivoted into human resources, specifically in recruiting. And that's really where I fell in love with the beauty of not just getting to know people through interview processes, but also like I get to give this person a job offer. It was the coolest thing ever. You make people's day. So I fell in love with it. And then over time, I moved into marketing. I had a fantastic leader approach me and say, hey, I need an A player in marketing. And I was like, I am not a marketeer. And she was insistent. I appreciate Melody to this day for doing that. I ended up loving marketing. And so I started doing executive coaching in 98, right when I moved into marketing, and built, thankfully, a successful career in marketing, and ended up serving as a chief marketing officer for a huge PE company, the chief digital marketing officer for ADT's residential business, and then founding my own digital marketing agency, served as the CEO for almost a decade and successfully sold that. And now I do executive coaching full time while being the CEO of an executive coaching firm. So it's been kind of a fun, wild journey that I couldn't have said 20 years ago, this is where it's going to go. But I love the way it's turned out.
Oh, I just love your story. It's so funny. When I first started, I also did not want to do marketing. Now I say I'm a marketing coach, but when I first started, I was terrified. And I would tell my coach, I can't teach people marketing. I don't know anything about it. Mind you, like I'm a TV producer. I have worked in television for over a decade. I know how to tell stories, but when it came to marketing, I was like, absolutely not. And here we are now, a marketing coach. Here you are now.
Right? And marketing is really storytelling.
Exactly.
I mean, you were already doing, you just didn't see it. I think that's what's so great is we see things in other people we don't see in ourselves.
I love that. And I'm happy that you went down this path because you've been able to help so many people to step into their power, to build their business, and to become so successful. So while you were on your journey, did you experience any type of fear or limiting belief or even any adversity that could have hindered you from building your success?
Yes, without question. So definitely fear. I left home at 17. So the fear of literally like, where is my housing? Where is my food coming? Like all of the core Maslow hierarchy fears I went through. But I would talk more to my adversity. So I live with now 33 medical conditions, several very severe chronic diseases, have had 25, as of next week, it'll be 26 surgeries in the last 9 years. And so really doing what I love is why I get up every day. I live with debilitating diseases that very easily I could just stay in bed and everyone would be like, makes sense, right? But to me, it's mind over body. Now it doesn't work all day, every day, and I'm great in the morning and I kind of do this as the day goes on, but To me, I get up because I want to coach other people. I want to build another business. I want to show people that we all have something, some invisible battle we're facing, some hidden struggle behind every, kind of great looking face of makeup or whatever. You don't really know the story behind that. And so whether someone's adversity is financial or relationship or career, or in my case, health, we all have those issues we're facing. It's just a matter of how do you face that adversity with resilience and strength and overcome it to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve in life.
Oh, this part to me, this part of your story is so inspiring. I remember when you told me it the very first time, this was probably about a month ago, I think we spoke. You don't know this, but every single day that I have felt frustrated, angry, not wanting to get up, I would always think, Adriana got up, so I'm getting up too. Yeah, I would always think that.
That means so much to me.
Your story is so inspiring. And you just talked about it. You said 33 health conditions, 26 surgeries come next week. But you said mind over body.
Yeah.
I know a lot of entrepreneurs who are just starting out where they may be going through some type of pain, some type of trauma, and they allow it to take over. Yeah. But here you are, like your body is going through the most, and every day, or at least most days, you can get up and still keep going. And I like that you talked about, like, there are some days that you don't, but do you set your days up in a way where you have a certain time frame where you can work, and then you have a certain time frame where you can actually just rest?
Such a great question. Absolutely. I have to keep functioning. So I am very rigid with my schedule. I'm up about 5 a.m. every day. I do my coffee, catch my news, catch up on work. I go for a walk for an hour every morning from 6 to 7, come back, shower, start meetings at 8. And I am usually in meetings nonstop until 1 or 1:30, at which time I immediately retire to the couch. And I am either in the couch or bed for the rest of the day. Honestly, I just don't have enough energy to continue on. And so for some people, they're like, well, why would you even bother working? Like, if you're giving all your energy to that, and I get energy from it, right? Like what I do fulfills me. So that's why. The other thing is I have to move my body for my mind to be kind of in a good space. So that walk every morning is super important. And then on Fridays, I have meeting-free Fridays. I do not take meetings on Fridays for two reasons. One, I just need a break, quite honestly, to catch up on all the work that's, kind of gone on all that week. But the second is, when you deal with this many medical conditions, I mean, people would be amazed at how many medical appointments I have in any given week. And so Fridays are usually stacked back to back to back at the health system downtown, where I'm just going from one doctor office or one procedure to the next. And so that allows me, by doing that on that Friday, that allows me to work the rest of the week and maybe catch up on Saturday or something, but it allows me to balance my life out. And the other thing is, by really setting my work hours up in the morning, I can be at my best for my clients and then allow my body to recharge later.
Oh, I just love it. And Renaya just wrote in the chat, she said, I needed this insight because I too have health issues. Thank you for sharing, Adriana. And I just feel like your work schedule is super important. And the best part is you're the one who gets to create it. You're not like focused on anything else. You're still prioritizing your health, even though you're working on your business, knowing this is when I have the most energy and this is when I don't have the most energy. So I think that that's so important. And then you use the word balance. And I think that especially when business owners are just starting out, even I went through this, it was hard to find balance with maintaining your health, maintaining your rest, and also working, because there's this mentality that's like, I want to be successful, I have to keep going. But you were able to find this balance. Now, I want to know from you, I know you said that you do some physical things to get you like excited and motivated. Is there anything else that you do that helps you to remain joy-filled throughout the day?
So it's a very little thing. I live in Miami for health reasons. My medical care is here. My husband lives in our other home in Indianapolis. And so this sounds a little bit silly, but he's my favorite person in the world and best friend. So we FaceTime every morning at 7:30. And then we FaceTime every evening at 9:30. And those are the littlest joyful moments of my day. And I kind of tease him, like this morning, I'm like, you get two versions of your wife, like the early morning, like face of makeup, all dressed, happy. And then the nighttime, it's like, oh my gosh, like, you can't stay awake and, no makeup, like all the things. And And I'm like, you get both versions of me every day. And it's those little moments of joy that allow me to carry through the day, as well as kind of the walking and stuff. And then the other thing is I've set up a situation physically that really works. So I have a table that rolls over my bed and over my couch. I have a desk. I also have a standing desk that raises because I can't sit for too long. So it's finding what works for your body. The last thing I will say is you really have to give yourself grace. You just have to. Like, I was diagnosed with a really severe autoimmune disease last Tuesday, so December 31st. And usually I just kind of pop back. I'm like, okay, we'll tackle this like we do everything. And I kind of went in this sadness for like 2 or 3 days. And you just have to give yourself grace to say, I've got to feel what I'm feeling and go through it. Now, you don't want to get stuck in that, but whether that's like, I didn't close the client I thought, or you're dealing with a medical situation like me, or it's, I'm having trouble at home because I'm focusing so much on my work, which us entrepreneurs do a lot of. You just have to give yourself grace to experience and feel what you're going through, and then power through it when the time is right.
Oh, I just think that's so amazing. First of all, I love that you have a partner with you, that you're able to FaceTime, and your situation isn't even ideal in the fact that like you're both not even living together, and still there's no like anger, no frustration, no like, why is this happening to me? And I tell you, it's your story that really gets me like, girl, you should not be complaining. You need to get up. Because it's so powerful. I feel like I don't meet a lot of people who can exude this type of joy with what they're going through. And let me tell you, I meet people who aren't going through what you're going through at all. And they're complaining a lot. So I love that you're able to infuse the joy into your day. And then you're able to do little things that really help you. And my favorite part is when you talked about giving yourself grace. I don't think we do that enough. Like, yes, we have our goals, and I'm telling them myself, I do the same thing. We have our goals that we want to hit, and sometimes we could try to ignore the emotions that are going on just so that we can go ahead and hit those goals. But what's happening is if we ignore the emotions, it's just going to drag us down. So like you said, you allowed a couple of days. I do the same thing. I allow myself 3 or 4 days. By the 4th day, I make a decision. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to stay here, or you're going to move forward. It's super important to really be able to feel your feelings and then move forward. So thank you so much for sharing that. So let's talk about how you help your clients, right? So we know how you're able to set up your business in a way that works for you. How do you help your clients as an executive coach with an extensive background in marketing?
So I focus primarily on executives that are experiencing transition in their career. So some kind of change, to tackle that change with confidence and clarity. A lot of times that's a career change. You know, I want to retire. I want to start my own business. I want to move jobs. I want to promote, I want to get the next level up. And so how do we clarify that and tackle it confidently? I do a lot on personal brand. I've done personal branding since way before it was like a term. And before I knew what it was called, I was like, well, it's kind of a personal brand. So I've taken all of that marketing experience and turned it into, how do you market an executive in today's hiring market, right? Or how do you market yourself in this new world if you decide you want to be a fractional leader or a consultant or whatever the case may be? So those are kind of the 2 areas that I zone in on for clients. And then the third would be transitioning in successfully. So once you land in a new organization, or once you do start that business, we work together for the first 6 to 12 months to make sure you land with impact and that you are achieving the success and really thriving in the way that you need to, and the organization or your business needs you to.
Oh, I just love that. And I love that you have like these 3 areas that you are really focused on. Let's touch on personal branding. Let's go a little bit deeper in personal branding. What are you noticing are big blind spots that some executives have when it comes to their personal branding?
I think the biggest blind spot is most people don't have one. So they think it's either non-existent or they don't need one. And what I'll tell you is, if you don't own your narrative, someone else is going to own it for you. So you have a brand, whether you've to put it out there or not, you have a personal brand. The second is, I always say your personal brand is the answer to, what do you do? Everyone meets you, they're like, oh, this is my name. Nice to meet you, Star. I'm Adriana. What do you do? Your personal brand is the answer to that question. It's not, I'm the chief marketing officer at, Neiman Marcus. That doesn't tell me anything about what you do. So tell me what you do, give me 15 or 20 words about what you do and who you are and the value that makes you the unicorn that you are, right? Like that's your personal brand statement. And again, if you don't own that and you don't craft it, someone else is owning it for you. And then you're letting the world decide who you are.
Oh, that's so powerful. I remember, and no one quote me on this. This was a very long time ago, but I remember watching something that Oprah was doing, and someone asked her a branding question. Now, again, this was a really long time ago, and she was like, "Branding, like when I was growing up, there was nothing about branding. You just build your business." But today, you have to have it. You
Yes.
have to have a personal brand. You have to have some type of brand because people won't work with you unless you have it. There are some companies that won't hire you unless you have some type of brand. I just recently started online dating, right? And one of my questions that I ask anyone that I'm talking to is, what do they do? And I have found that there are a lot of people who do not like telling you what they do, or they don't know how to communicate what they do. And
Yeah.
so I want to know from you, what is like a tip or two tips that you can share on how someone can get started with communicating what they do for their personal brand?
So first, I will share my husband and I met over a decade ago on Match.com. So I'm a big proponent of online dating. It works. It's very successful. And he is absolutely the true love of my life. So keep going with it, I promise you. But I actually ran into this with him. So he's a rocket scientist by education and works in motorsports. Now, I am not a sports person. I know nothing about them. So when we met, I was like, what do you do for, like, I know you're a rocket scientist. Yes, impressive. But what do you like actually do for a living? And he said, oh, I'm a chief race engineer in IndyCar. And I was like, I have no idea what that means. And I'm like, well, what do they call it when it's not an Indy? And he's like, IndyCar. So I kid you not, I asked him 3 times. The second time I asked it louder. The third time I asked it slower. And finally he looked at me and was like, no matter where in the world we're racing, it's called IndyCar. And I was like, I'm the idiot. So if, again, like, you have to understand that not everyone you're talking to will know what your nomenclature, your industry, whatever that is, right? It doesn't mean that I'm stupid. It means I don't know anything about motorsports, and that's okay. So when you are building a personal brand, the first thing is you have to know what you offer. What is unique about you, right? I always say I empower executives to navigate change with clarity and confidence. I know what I do. So it doesn't just tell you what I do, but it tells you who I do it for, executives. It tells you the results you get, clarity and confidence. And it tells you my approach. I empower you. So you've got to create a statement that talks entirely about you. I don't usually lead with like, I'm an executive coach. Well, there's thousands of them now. When I went to Harvard Business School's program for coaching in the late 90s, people were like, what even is that? What's coaching? Now there's like, everyone's a coach of something. So you have to be more specific. Like in your case, I think it's amazing that you talk about the fact that you're a TV producer. So your superpower, if you will, is telling stories, right? So of course it makes sense that you're a marketing coach. You're a marketing coach that builds someone's story and helps them share and tell it, right? Makes sense. So you have to know who you are. And my one tip is, if you don't know that, take some kind of personality assessment. So there's thousands of them out there. Some are better than others. The new company I'm building, Cayenne, has a particular one that's totally different. Like, look through this thing, stand on one foot. And when I started doing it, I was like, what is this? But it is neuroscience based. And it brings a profile back that shows you, like, based on the fact of how you view the world, this is how you succeed. And that's what you need to communicate. Right? Like if you just go out there and say, I drive value for private equity firms through cultural leadership teams, I'm like, what does that mean? There's like 7,000 of you that can do that. Tell me something unique. And my term is always, tell me what makes you the unicorn.
I really love that. I think like telling your story is super important and being specific about it, because you're right. There are so many people who are coaches now, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? This is the society that we're in. But you really need to share your story in a way that it does stand out. Like even for me, when I'm introducing myself, I let people know, like you said, I'm a TV producer and a marketing coach. I say who I work with. I work with 6 and 7 figure business owners to create binge worthy content. So like everything you exactly like everything you that's exactly what I teach my clients too, because if you don't know this, then you can't communicate it. And it's going to be really hard to attract your tribe to you, because
Right.
they are attracted to who you are and how you can help them. So I really love that you help your clients to hone in on this and then be able to share their story in a way that is super confident. And so let me ask you this question. What is one decision that you made in your business that really helped you shift and skyrocket into the next level of success?
Delegating is probably the number one. I am very clear. I am not great at everything. There's plenty of things I'm not good at. Bookkeeping and accounting, like administrative scheduling. I'm terrible at all of those. So find the group that will support you. Find those individuals that complement your weaknesses and lift up your strengths and invest in them, right? Yes, I could have hired a virtual assistant, and there's plenty that are great, but I happen to have known an assistant that does an exceptional job. And I looked and I was like, this is going to cost me 5 times more than I would like. However, investing in this resource, this individual to do this work is going to allow me to 10x the revenue of the business, right? So you have to look at everything you do as an investment. And I would say the other thing is like, don't worry about like, my office is not pretty, or I don't have the perfect chair or whatever. Like, I don't know, take an old door, put it on 2 pieces of something and make it a desk. Like, don't worry about the things that don't really matter. Turn every dollar into an investment. So whether it's delegating, whether it's investing in marketing, whether it's looking at new technology, continue to invest in yourself and your business. That is what's going to reap the rewards that you really want.
I love it. You said 2 words that are like hands down. That's exactly what's needed, delegating and investing. And sometimes it can be pretty scary delegating. I will say this, not this year, 2024, I really got into delegating when I hired my team. And what I learned about myself is that I'm not a great communicator.
You learn that really quickly, don't you?
I thought I used to pride myself on communicating very well. I'm like, I'm the best communicator. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. And then when I started working with my team, no, based on the results that they were producing, I was like, I did not communicate that very well at all. So
Right.
but that delegating piece is really helpful, and it shows growth too, because it's going to be really hard to build such a successful business by yourself. You're going to need a team that you can rely on that can actually help you get to the next level as well. So not doing it by yourself. But I really like that you talked about investing, because oftentimes we do want to take the cheap way out, right? Or the most cost effective way out. But is it really what's going to serve you? Is it really what's going to take your business to the next level? Like it could actually cause you more headache and cause you to regress as opposed to progress. So I just really love that you talked about that. And so before we go ahead and end, I want to read some comments that you said that the people were typing in the chat that really stood out to them, right? So Renaya says, tell me what makes you the unicorn. Come on now. That really stood out to her.
You have to know what makes you the unicorn. So lean into that. Whatever someone always says, like, this is you, everyone calls it a superpower now. That makes you the unicorn.
Yes, I love that. And then the saved and sober educator says, I loved if you don't own your narrative, somebody else will. Like that really stood out.
Okay. I love that.
Awesome. So for those who are listening now and they want to be able to work with you, or they want to be able to follow you and connect with you, how can they do that?
You can find me, of course, on LinkedIn under Adriana Cowden. And I know that's a mouthful and not always easy to spell, but thankfully STAR's really good, so it's on the screen. You can also find me at BeBoldExecutiveCoaching.com. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, but our website, BeBoldExecutiveCoaching.com. You can find us there. I'm more than happy to do a consult complimentary with anyone from the show that needs that. You can find a way to look that up on our website. And I would be happy to connect with anyone. I'm just so grateful for this opportunity today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. I mean, you are super inspiring. Your story just resonates. I mean, so many people were blessed by it today. What we're going to do is we're going to share BeBoldExecutiveCoaching.com in the comments. Well, it's already in the comments, but we're going to share it in the description for anyone who's watching the replay so that you can get access to it. And we'll also share Adriana's LinkedIn so that you can connect with her. If you have any questions or just need some guidance, make sure that you reach out to her, follow her. She is fantastic. And Adriana, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone else, thank you so much for tuning in today's show. Have a great day. We'll be back again tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern with another powerful guest.
Thank you, everyone.